One spell. One spell is all it takes to break Oblivion. And we're not even talking about Chameleon. No, this is something that will make Bart Simpson proud.
I learned the touch of death. Permit me to demonstrate.
Take care. Hey, sweet lady of...
Destruction needs to be at level 25. Obtaining this power is simple. First we need to obtain a Drain Health spell. A Mage's Guild vendor would likely be the best place to start. Then, either at the Arcane University, from completing all the recommendations, or by using your magic tower, we need to create a custom spell effect using Drain Health. Set the magnitude to 100 and the duration to 1. Congratulations, you have now trivialized 90% of combat encounters in Oblivion, assuming you stay at a low level and avoid wearing armor. Here's how it works. In Oblivion, Drain Health magic is intended to weaken a target by reducing its hit points within a certain time window. If that time window ends and the target yet lives, then that health goes back to them. All spells that you can cast in Oblivion have a base cost. Higher numbers are worse, they would cost more magic to cast and be harder to cast. For example, Restore Health has a base cost of 10. Fire Damage has a base cost of 7.5. You begin Oblivion with at least 2 spells, Heal Minor Wounds to just do that, and Flare to fling a fireball. The base cost difference will likely mean you'll be flinging more fireballs within the amount of magicka you have. So how much does Drain Health cost? 0.9.
Morning.
What's going on?
That is so cheap compared to a lot of spells in the game. You might as well just combine it with other effects like Soul Trap. You won't be getting Azura's Star at level 1, and it's going to be rare to find some Grand Soul Gems, but you can get Black Soul Gems and fill them constantly. At level 1, without wearing armor, you can effectively destroy anything in the game.
Huh?
Bandits, marauders, mages, necromancers, the Daedra that you'd be fighting at this level. It's easier to list at level 1 what this spell cannot defeat. Characters or creatures that have a set level, so their health would be higher, meaning it would be greater than 100, so they wouldn't succumb to the spell. This is an excellent finishing move if you use it beyond level 1. Who wouldn't succumb immediately? Guards are inconsistent.
I'm on your side!
I was able to dispatch Jailer but not one of the main city guards. Orcs and Bretons who are more resistant to magic than other races may survive too. The Grey Prince's 200 health is stuck at level 10 forever. He'll withstand the spell, but you can finish him with it if you don't tell him about his roots. Lucien Lechance has 194 health, so he'll shrug the spell off if you use it first. Characters like these two are outliers. Jiggerlag! Jiggerlag can be beaten by this. Mankar Cameron too would have less health than 100 at level 1. That's the main villain, and the main villain of the DLC. Falcar the random necromancer in the Mages Guild is more powerful than Jiggerlag and Mankar Cameron if you stay at level 1. The easiest way to stay at level 1 is not to sleep, but if you don't sleep, the certain quest may not be able to begin. So we can choose major skills based on things you never have to use. You could literally commit a severe crime spree by running around and tapping people. The AI can't handle it. People will gladly sprint straight up to you. Certain creatures and NPCs in Oblivion Remastered have lower health than in the original game. That would strengthen this spell's ability to be used as a finishing move. Either way, the spell is excellent, but it's far from perfect. The 35 magicka cost adds up quickly. That's the reason why I elected for a touch version of the spell, so you can use it more times. If it was ranged, you could use it less. If you miss, or if your target has more than 100 health, then you have just wasted magicka, necessitating a potion perhaps. This spell in particular I think exposes a big flaw with the bounty system in Oblivion. In Morrowind, if your bounty is too high, guards will refuse to speak to you and will simply attack you on sight. This would require you to go to the Thieves Guild to clear your bounty. If you got expelled from the Thieves Guild, then there is no convenient way to calm the guards down outside of magic. Oblivion removed this, so you can always yield to a guard and they'll try to arrest you. So if you go to jail for using your magic hand power, and you escape, or you serve your time, and you do it again, the guards will just want you in prison again, or to pay a fine. It would make sense at this point they would realise how dangerous you are and go the Morrowind route of blockading you from appealing to them. But no, the Bart Simpson power breaks that. Oblivion's mechanics means people will just keep coming and coming, trying to either fight or arrest you, even though they witness you using your hand to dispatch countless others. Morally, if you're a roleplayer, this is a quick, easy, evil path to take. By making this spell and tapping everybody in town, you can rack up a bounty very quickly. Just keep in mind that the guards will be there. Haha. likely to arrest you at one point. In terms of min-max build, if you were to make an Altmer and make them have the apprentice birth sign, then that gives you a steady stream of high amounts of magicka throughout the start of the game, and you could potentially level up your destruction and try to increase the power of this spell whilst remaining at level 1, as long as it's not a major skill. The 800 birth sign I think would be too unreliable for this, if at least 35 magicka is going to be cast each time. But having a build like this, and raising your destruction up, you could combine this with other magical effects such as weakness to magic in order to offset the higher health if an enemy doesn't succumb to the spell immediately. Absorb health would allow the spell to heal you while sapping others so you can feel like Shang Tsung, especially if you combine it with Soul Trap like we said earlier. Damage health or lightning, fire or ice could assist greatly. The problem of going crazy with too many effects is that you're rendering the spell less versatile by focusing on firepower at the cost of amount of times you can use it. It would make sense to construct a second more powerful version of this spell, and then you can alternate between them. This approach would guarantee almost any inhabitant of Cyrodiil that you can encounter at level 1 would not be standing after one use of one of these. Another variant could be a ranged version if your magicka can take it. At that point you are basically role-playing the game as Gengar, you are just hiding in the corner using Shadow Ball. Magic attacks do not have sneak attack bonuses, but don't worry, you will not be needing them. You are basically just a magic sniper now. Theoretically, if we go to a very high level, how useful is the spell? Its effectiveness will be severely diminished. If you want to have a sleepless night, go on UESP and look at Goblin stats at high levels. But don't worry, this move is now a desperation gambit. You're going to have to slice away with something else and then periodically use your magic hand and see if opponent still stands. This can be quite tricky as ignoring enemy statistics in the game, the little reticle that shows you how much health something has may not always be accurate, especially as you're reducing something important as health for 1 second and 1 second only. At lower levels, using this spell there's no point wearing armor at all. Instead the focus should be on magicka amount and maneuverability. We are not embodying the principles of a glass cannon here. We are merely invalidating the health pool of most opponents you could realistically expect to come across at level 1. Now naturally staying at level 1 is going to bar you from almost all quests involving the Daedric Princes. If you manage to use this as your only offensive source of damage output for the entire game whilst remaining at level 1, then this so-called Oblivion crisis seems completely unrealistic. Kvatch especially becomes nonsensical. You expect us to believe that all these people are so scared of a bunch of scamps and Dremora. Oh, but I know what you're going to say. But Radiance, the Daedric Siege Crawler. Yeah, and if you were to stay at level 1, then the Daedric Siege Crawler won't be guarded by anything too different from what you've already been facing the entire game. It makes the events and actions of certain NPCs, in the face of all the things you've seen, seem like they are just a bunch of wimps. The serious nature of some quests becomes completely contradicted by the ease of gameplay, even if we stick to the normal level. There is a game that came out recently called Atomfall, and it takes inspiration from Fallout New Vegas and some other Bethesda-style games. I think Atomfall does a good job, especially at the start, of making it seem like you are weak and vulnerable and you've got to be resourceful, but your enemies are in the same position as you. Imagine if there was an NPC in Oblivion who could use this very move against you. Maybe they'd have some sort of unique warning that if you get too close you get fried or something. This would force you to keep at range and be very careful when you get up close. Imagine if there were some fights in Oblivion, even at level 1, where there was an enemy and they could use your own skills against you like that. And so certain encounters would feel like, in the original Dune novel, the dagger fight between Paul and Feyd-Rautha, where they seem evenly matched, they both hate each other, and only one will emerge victorious. Imagine if, for example, the Sigil Keeper in the Kvatch Oblivion Gate assumed a role like that towards the beginning of the game. Morrowind has the infamous Snowy Granius NPC who will try and hurt you as part of a main quest location. Imagine if Oblivion had that, a significant NPC hostile to you who has devastating capabilities at such an early point in the game. You'd have to be quick and you'd have to be careful as they have the same power and capabilities as you do. I don't think that would invalidate your strength of the character, as the narrative makes it clear that Sean Bean, Emperor Martin Septin, he is more the main character than you are at times. A big struggle I think would help the narrative like that. To those of us who have made it this far, ask yourself, what is the highest bounty you could occur whilst using this spell? The end screen of the video will have links to 2 of my other videos. Somewhere towards the top will be my continuation of how was Skyrim described before Skyrim, and there can always be a part 3. Underneath that, somewhere a link to my 1,000 subscriber special where we play some Morrowind. That too has some interesting spell combinations that I may make a video on. And this is it for this video. If you liked the video, then subscribe and like. If you hated the video, massive thumbs down. Fight me in the comments, I'll be ready. Clearly I trained with a Shang Tsung and caught Gengar in the production of this video. Thank you very much for watching, good day and goodbye.